So you're going to be buying a new house while you're selling your old one. And this creates a little bit of turmoil. So let's talk about my 5 favorite selling tips and my 5 favorite buying tips all in one video so that you can kind of get an idea on really the best way to execute this whole process and come out with a soft place to land. Coming up right here. So let's talk about the first thing, which is making sure your house sells quickly, right? Because when a house sells quickly, it sells for its optimal top price. There's 100 years of statistics with the National Association of Realtors that shows the faster a house sells, the higher the price is. The longer it lingers on the market, the lower the house sells for. And a lot of sellers don't know that. They think they're just going to wait around until the magical munchkin comes along and overpays for their house now that it's been on the market for 30 days. And that's just not a real thing. The real thing are the statistics that we look at as realtors from the National Association of Realtors. And that shows that houses that are priced to sell go quicker. So they're priced to sell. People love your house. They love the price. They move in. They make offers. They compete against the other buyers, and your house sells quickly. So make sure you work with a realtor that knows how to price your house to sell. Next, you want to make sure your house is in the most optimal condition to actually be viewed by potential buyers. So I'm going to talk about the optimal situation, and that is your vacant house. When you've moved on to another home and buyers can come in and make all the appointments that they have to make with the seller's agent and things like that, things happen quicker than when they have to make arrangements with you and you have to put Fido in the garage and you can't show your house for an hour or until you get home, or there's all these delays in buyers seeing your place. That lessens the opportunity for buyers to buy your house. It actually turns a lot of them away. So I always throw out there to anybody selling your house. The best thing you can do is to have a vacant house to sell, which means you've already purchased and moved in to your new home. Now, second part of that scenario is a lot of people can't do that. They have to live there until their house sells. And at the same time, they're scouting out a new home, but they have to live in their current house. So there's all kinds of things I cover with home sellers, but one of the main things is that in the first 5 days your house is on the market, from the day it's live on the market till about 5 days later, the best thing you can do is go on a local vacation, a cheap vacation somewhere where you can still work from home and let your realtor get all the buyers on the planet through your house so that we can get some offers in there, bing, 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 in 5 days. That's the optimal scenario for when you're living at home. Now, the third part is if you have to live at home and you're working from home and your kids are going to school from home and the 2 dogs are there, we just have to make arrangements and appointments, which we do all day long, and we have to make things happen. But it's really great when you sit down and powwow with the whole family and let everybody know that this is going to be a little inconvenient and maybe a little weird for 5 days, but when the realtor calls and says she has 3 people ready to see the house, everybody needs to be able to do whatever they can to leave the house so that buyers can come through and see it. All right. So I always like to be real frank about that because you did want to sell your house quickly, and we can't pretend that buyers aren't affected by inconvenience. So if there's a way to kind of work that out, kind of come up with a plan, grab and go food, places to go for 20 minutes while buyers are going through your house. There's all kinds of things I like to plant in a seller's head while they're selling their house, because we want buyers in there and we want them in there a lot in the first 5 days. So just kind of think about that. Then we're going to move on to the idea that we got your house in contract. Someone wants to buy your house and you accepted their offer. High five, that's really cool. Now your house is in contract with your new buyers. Now you're ready to start thinking more about the house you're moving to, right? Well, there's lots of scenarios that can play out in that scenario as well. Let's talk about buying a new house. The new developer where your new house is, a actual brand new house. That house has never been lived in before, so it's far more flexible and easier for you to work out when you're going to actually move, right? But if that person on the other end is selling their house and they're living there too, this is where your good realtor comes in, because two realtors that are communicating in writing in the contract, telling each other when people are moving, if they need to buy some time on each end. Maybe the seller needs another week in the house. Maybe where you're going, maybe they need some more time. And maybe you're like, phew, that's good because we need a few more days in our house. There's all kinds of stuff that can be worked out, especially if you have great realtors communicating on both sides. So really making sure that everybody knows what's going on is going to make the next part of the transaction even smoother, because there's a lot of wiggling that's going on. And if people don't think of things and they're not planning things way ahead, then we get hiccups, which a lot of times can be solved with time extensions that we do in writing and things like that. But what we like to do is stick to the original contract. A 30-day escrow, you're moving out of your new one or your current house and into your new one. And they know that it's a 30-day escrow, so they've made plans accordingly. All right? Now, let's see. Okay, I know I took a long time to make that decision. But with all of this being said, what I think is a really smart thing to do is to come up with a plan B. Because what if you go to buy your new house and your house doesn't sell? Those buyers pull out for whatever reason. Or vice versa, but you made an offer on a future house and for some reason you couldn't buy that house, or that seller decided not to sell. Highly unusual, but if I mention it, it's happened. What happens with plan B? So I think it's important that you have a great conversation with your significant other on what would we do if. Can we get pods? Can we rent for a month or two? All these things need to be discussed when you're buying and selling a house and moving in, because you really do not want to have any gaps, or, the new buyers to your house have to move in on the 30th day because their truck is moving here from, out of state somewhere, and there's like a tight window or maybe no window. You need to have plan B. So I'll wrap it up with just saying that that's an important thing to at least ponder at least a few times in a few conversations, because when you have a plan B and you're really working, your plan A, life comes in windy roads, right? Not always straight lines. So really thinking out a plan B, we could do this, we could do that, we could move in with mom and dad for a month or 3 weeks if it didn't quite work out. All this kind of stuff. At least talk about it, because stuff happens and we want to make sure that you land in a soft place and it all works out. If you like this video, give me a like, hit the subscribe button and the little bell, and you'll get all my future videos on discovering Sonoma County living. Don't forget all my free stuff below. I'm always giving things away. You might need a buyer's guide or a relocation guide, or a seller's guide. They're good little check-off lists to go through when you start this whole process. So great talking to you again. Look for the next video coming up in that corner right there. And I'll see you around the neighborhood.